Welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. It's my pleasure today to introduce to you Mr. Nur Al Alam. He's the president of Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi Society, Asia Pacific. Nur is an engineer by profession. He completed his Masters of Science, Engineering and Computing at the University of Engineering and Technology in Bangladesh. He also completed a graduate diploma in Arabic language at the University of Melbourne. Currently, Nur is a resident of Melbourne, Australia, where he works as a senior program manager at the Telstra Corporation. Nur is a Sufi practitioner since 2000 and has been studying Ibn Arabi's books since 2005. He's actively involved in the programs and administrations of various branches of Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi Society, Asia Pacific, as well as the Arabic-speaking and the Bangladesh Ibn Arabi groups. During this meeting, Nur will present part 2 of the presentation. Last month was part 1 on the Barzakh, 5 Presences and Islamic Cosmology in the context of Ibn Arabi. So Nur will continue exploring Ibn Arabi's Risalah al-Barzakhiya with regard to the 5 Presences and Premodern Islamic Cosmology and Architecture. For those that haven't been here last month and I would like to have part 1, please feel free to put your email in the Zoom, in the Zoom chat, and I will email you that link. Thank you. Nur, you may start, please, when you're ready.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi. I will start from where I left last time, but for the benefit of some new attendees, I'll briefly review a few slides, especially the definition of Barzakh. So that we understand why we are talking about. And let me share my screen. So, as we all know, the Barzakh is a very important doctrine in Ibn Arabi's philosophy and Ibn Arabi's teachings. If you are born in a Muslim family or if you are in Abrahamic faith, most of us we know about Barzakh, which is an intermediate world. That is the place, eschatologically, we know that after death, we will be going there waiting there until Akhirah or Judgment Day happens. Then we will be again resurrected and then go into that life. So, but Ibn Arabi's philosophy is Barzakh is present now and we have access to it every day. So, and let's understand what it is. And that's what we are going to discuss. So as you see, know that word of Barzakh, for what separates two things without ever becoming either of them, such is the line separating a shadow from the sunlight. Or as in his saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, he has loosened the 2 seas, they meet them, and between them there is a Barzakh. So 2 seas meet, and at that meeting point, there is a line which is called Barzakh. And no sides, the 2 seas, salty water and sweet water, they cannot meet. So that is the metaphor Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used in the Quran to explain Barzakh. And as we discussed in our other discussions, Barzakh is where we go every night, when we sleep. And that is we call a small death, when our nafs, our self goes back to Allah And of course, it's roam around the Barzakhi world. So we see the dream all the time. So I've explained how, as a human, our ruh has been transcended to our body. So from first Hajrat, and then Tajalli happened, and then transcended. Every time it transcends, it miniaturizes. Every time it transcends, it miniaturizes. And I describe those things and 7 states of being. And briefly to understand, Barzakh is the intermediate world, higher world is the Alam Arwah, lower world is this visible world where we are in. So, and then we discussed about letter Nun, how it's related to Barzakh. So in there, this is one of the diagram where we explain that the wujud versus ʿadam, wujud versus being versus non-being, existence versus non-existence. And there I had this question which one asked, so I thought I just cover a little bit of that particular terminology. Wujud is the term means existence. In Ibn Arabi's metaphysics, wujud refers to the necessary existence of God, which is the ultimate uncreated reality and source of all existence. It is the absolute, infinite, undifferentiated reality that underlies everything. So without wujud, I cannot exist, earth cannot exist, world cannot exist. Adam, which is Ain Dal Mim, it means refers to human being, and Adam represents the created beings, that temporal world. Everything in the temporal world is treated as Adam, and it signifies the finite, contingent, and differentiated existence that depends on the wujud for its being. And so as I mentioned, it's called non-being because non-existent, because it has a dependency. Because it has a dependency, it cannot, it's not a self-sustaining, or it's not self-standing. So that's why it's called ʿadam. And then this Qidam is another terminology which is called ancient. Qidam is associated with eternal, uncreated nature of God without being primordial, without beginning. Qidam, another name, Qidam is primordial. So Huduth is another terminology I wanted to, which is an opposite of Qidam. The opposite of Qidam, eternity or primordiality, is often considered to be Huduth. Huduth is the newness. Khalkun Jadid, every minute happens. That is called Huduth. Huduth refers to concept of coming into existence, temporal existence. It is used to describe things that have a beginning in time and are thus not eternal, while Huduth pertains to the created, finite world of temporal beings and events. Qidam refers to eternal, primordial. So, and now I'll be briefly mentioning this one, the human being, as if an isthmus, because human being, Ibn Arabi speaks about the human dimension in his Kitab Insha'at Dawair. In there, Ibn Arabi says, man possesses 2 dimensions of perfections. By the first, he exceeds to the degree of divine manifestation. By the other, to the degree of existential manifestation. So as you see, we are doing divine manifestation and existential manifestation. So God's existence is proven through us, me, universe. Whether God is present or not present is manifested through us. On one hand, he is spoken of as a servant from the fact that his being is mutakallaf. So we are talking about human being. Sometime, of course, we are always the servant, And that's what the fact of being we are mutakallaf, and that he come into existence after fashion of the world, after having been non-existent. So our existence is temporal, and we are servant. That is one way Ibn Arabi explains the human condition. The other condition is he is spoken as the Lord, because we have been given the mastery over the entire universe. Not only on our own self and soul we have been blessed with, but we are robbed, we are given the virtue of his office, which is called Khalifa. So we are here, God's Khalifa, in this form we have, and we have been given the most beautiful constitution, which is the Ahsan al-Taqbeem. And that's when Ibn Arabi says here, Ka'annahu, Ka'annahu, Barzakh. And this particular phrase he is using in his kitab, Ka'annahu Barzakh bain al-Alam al-Haq. Alam, the universe, and the cosmology. He seems to be the Isthmus, mediator between the cosmos and God, and also Jami. So we are gatherer of the created beings and the creator. So we, through us, go two seas meet. The meet, two seas, one sea is Zahir, another sea is Bath, and both seas meet through the human being. So human being, becomes the dividing line which separates between the divine and cosmic, kauniya, the cosmic presences, just like the imaginary line which separates the light of sun from a shadow. This is his reality and essence. Thus, human being has an absolute perfection in temporality, Huduth, and eternity, Qidam. In the case of the truth al-Haq, he has absolute perfection only in eternity, has no access to such perfection in temporal matters. So Allah doesn't need show any perfection because he's perfect, but in temporal matters, Allah doesn't need to have access to perfection. It's only human who need to have perfection. He is beyond such things. Meanwhile, the cosmos has absolute perfection in temporality, no access to such perfection in eternity, because cosmos is not eternal. Cosmos is temporal, and that is Ibn Arabi mentioning in his kitab, Insha'id Dawair. Therefore, human being becomes Jami, a synthesis of these two worlds, which separated by a mediator on Isthmus, Barzakh. So that's one. And then this diagram of transcendence, this is the one I added in addition, because this is one of the things, this human being is the spiritual portal. This is what Ibn Arabi says here. So he made the human condition into 4 quadrants. And he says one side is the Qidam, al-Qidama, al-Qadima, and the other side is al-Hadra. We already explained al-Hadra has a 5 transcendence, 5 Hadra. So in this, in one side is this side, the other side is the human, me, sitting in between these two. So we have body and substance, and we have spirit of man. So as a result, here Ibn Arabi is saying our body needs a space. So, and also the universe needs a space. So that, but it is mutahayyir. It has this bewildering capability, just like our mind and body has a bewildering capability. Universe also has a bewildering capability, because that particular indication is that spiritual or existential state where person or entity is in continuous search and questioning to reach deeper understanding and truth. That is why that mutahayyir capability not only given to our soul, it also given to everything in the universe. This mutahayyir capability of seeking space and time and other nine matter, this material I mentioned, I'll show it in a minute. So here one dimension is body and substance, another dimension is spirit and the nature of the world. The other dimension is coloration and sifat, qualificative, and the other dimension is this which is assimilate to it. Assimilate means adaptability. So we are just like we can grow. Mumkinat is in us. Just I wanted to mention this particular item with regard to mumkinat. So this particular line from God's will be done, this book written by Lale Bakhtiar, she's saying that everything in nature but human self perfects its own nature. To the extent that life allows, by unconsciously submitting to the will of God. The area with which we are concerned is the completion of nature in its mode of operation. So in the nature, except human self, willing unconsciously submitted to the world, but they are achieving perfection. God breathed his spirit into human forms so that they gather the powers of consciousness of self. So we are the only creation in the whole universe which has this consciousness, the awareness who I am, the self, which includes consciously following one's conscience, the intellect, the sense of right or wrong, good, bad, and then the free will, which includes following one's consciousness and free will. The completion of the passions of nature becomes a question of choice, to do or not to do. Because this free will is given to us, Ahsan al-Taqibim, best of the forms, produced, of course, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abraham, Moses, Isa alayhi salam, and all insan kamil similar to him, 124,000 or 350,000 or whatever infinite number of a perfected human being, perfect man. And also we got the lowest of the low, which is Asfala Safili. We have this Pharaoh, Nemrod, Abu Jahl, Abu Lahab, and in modern day, Netanyahu, Lanatullahi alayhim. So those sort of lowest of the low also can happen because of this free will. So that's one of the dimension I wanted to highlight in this particular human spiritual portal, which Ibn Arabi is showing in his kitab, Insha Dawair. And here, this Hiyula is one of the things Ibn Arabi mentioned. It's a philosophical terminology. It's called primordial matter. And this is the material, as I mentioned, Qidam. And where it comes from, it's the raw material. It says that Hiyula or primordial matter is referred to as Unsurul Awwal. Unsur is the element. Unsur al-Awwal or Unsur al-Khalq. This concept represents the initial undifferentiated substance from which all creation emerges. Ibn Arabi described it as the first mother through which the divine essence manifests itself and generates the universe. It is the fundamental principle that gives rise to all forms and essences in the cosmos. So as I mentioned here in this diagram, Ibn Arabi shows this dot, which is the center, which is the God's essence is at the center, but all other things emanates from it through the time, space, place, quantity. As I mentioned, the categories of substance, Jauhar is 5, and categories of accidents, Arad is 9. So all this ability to actualize, ability to rationalize, all those accidental stuff make us to get the infinite mumkinat. Mumkinat, just like universe can bring its beauty, expanded universe, same way expanded soul, the level and martaba of human being can go to insane kamil, which has the control of the entire universe. So I just wanted to briefly mention this diagram because I wanted to show that because in the fusus, in the nusus al-fusus, the shitics, that summary Ibn Arabi gave for the fusus, in chapter of ʿAdam, Ibn Arabi says, man is a two-sided mirror. Two mirror, as you see here, two-sided mirror. And one side, the properties of lordship. On the other side, the defects of servanthood are reflected. When you look at the properties of lordship, he is greater than all beings. When you count the defects of servanthood, he is lower and more insignificant than all creatures. So here, as you see here, Alam al-Amr is on the top, world of command, and Alam al-Malakut, Alam al-Mastur is on the top, and then Alam al-Khalq, Alam al-Dunya is on the bottom. So these two mirror, which is combined through Barzakh, as you see, Alam al-Barzakh is in the middle, and Alam al-Khayal is part of Alam al-Barzakh. And as you see here, the qalb is our heart and intellect, and as you see, aql, true nafs. Just like the other diagram, this is the Islamic psychological model, which recently developed in Cambridge University with the Islamic Psychological Association. There were research done, 18 plus scholars. This model, so far I understood Ibn Arabi's description, he didn't give this model, but most of the description I understood matches, because they have gone back to those 18 Islamic scholars, gone back to in the beginning. And even the Lale Bakhtiar, which I am following for my Enneagram, Sufi Enneagram diagram, she wrote a book called Quranic Psychology, and her description fits in with this model. So here, as you see here, the self, the nafs, has a three-part: nafs al-ammara, nafs al-lawwama, nafs al-mutmainna. The commanding self, and then blaming self, and the tranquil self. And then there is a terminology which is a Jungian terminology. I have added them. So Jungian terminology, Carl Jung, he says ego consciousness he's mentioned Ammara, and this is mapped by Lale Bakhtiar, who is a psychologist, and she is also she was a member of American Psychology Association. So as a part of her understanding, she mapped it out how Quran's description of psychology matches with the Jungian, and he mapped it out. So she mapped it out. So I took it from her mapping: ego consciousness, person unconsciousness, and then the collective unconsciousness. And what we call our nafs in the worldly plane, and of course in Jungian terminology, God is the psychoid, unified layer. They are all the consciousness of entire universe, is the consciousness all unified there, and that is their terminology. So what actually I wanted to mention, within the human being, we have both divine self and human self, natural, which is the lower self. So this is the self which has this uh, Kareem gene, built-in gene, and also we have angels. So we have both component, angelic component and gene component. And so this particular area pushes us towards gafla. Gafla means forgetfulness, forgetting the presence of Allah, and ego centricity, all sorts of earthly maya pulls us towards our ego, which is dominating, and that I am better than you, that kind of mindset. and and also all the negative traits of human being, as I mentioned, two perfection. One is insane kamel, another is say Netanyahu, who kills people and no mercy. So that kind of the Pharaoh who enslaved the entire Kaum Bon Israel and killing them, killing babies because Moses coming. That's why he doesn't want Moses. So that kind of character, or Abu Jahl, who put the stomach into him, prophet's head when he was praying in Kaaba. So that kind of people are also created and live in this world because of this shaitanic component every human has. So when we are engulfed with that kind of negative traits, we needed to do tazkiyah nafs, striving, jihad nafs, striving to purify the soul. That's when all these efforts need to be put in place. So that's for another day. But I just wanted to give the structure, the two-side mirror. This is the human spiritual construction. I am standing in front of you. I have all these layers in me. One is Barzakh, another is Alam Khalq, Alam Mulk, the other is Alam al-Amr, Alam al-Malakut. So all this layer, higher world and lower world, is actually mixed in me. So that's why I wanted to show this model. So now I just go back to my other, where is it? Why it's not going? Just 1 minute, something gone. Okay. So now I just wanted to just show briefly this particular slide, which last time, of course, it was a bit clumsy. So I'm just trying to find what happened to my slideshow. Maybe. Okay. So what actually I wanted to show was I wanted to simplify, just briefly go through these few slides again, because last time Rad mentioned it was too complicated. So what actually I did was I simplified it, took away the whole thing, just to show you these two C's, which meets. One is black and white, another is the color. And as I mentioned, color is one of the accidents which to this side to manifest this side, it takes colors, it takes forms, it takes space, it takes all these sort of things. So that is this side, which is the this alamal, as you see here, alamal khalq. So this side and this side, they're separated by barzakh, and then hahut, lahut, jabarut, and malakut. These are the various layers which transcends. And as I mentioned, when it transcends, it miniaturized from the top to the bottom. And the lowest miniaturization happened here. because the example Prophet used was this: in a desert, if you throw away a ring, that ring is the miniaturized version of the entire desert. So this earth is the miniaturized version of Alam al-Misal, and Alam al-Misal is miniaturized version of Malakut. Malakut is the miniaturized version, and that's what even he's saying, Kursi is miniaturized version of Arsh. That's how all this transcendence happen. That's why when you see the universe, basically the visible universe is tip of the iceberg compared to the vast earth, which is hidden, which is the other side, which is in the Alam Malakut and Alam Misal. So now I have added the Alam al Ghaib, the first presence, and then the second presence, which is this other layer, and the third presence, which is the Hazrat al-Thalith, which is the Ta'ayyun al-Nafsiyya, world of individuations. And then this fourth Hadrat, which is Alam al-Mithal. And then this is the Hadrat, which is the Insan Kamil, fifth Hadrat, which is the Alam al-Shahada, which has access to all of the dimensions, all of the layers, because as I mentioned, Alam al-Ghaib, Hadratul Ula, is present here, but in a hidden way, because this is where pantheist people do not understand that universe cannot run without hidden God's presence and power in it, because Alam al-Amr, his command, is there, which is it's a gravitational force and all this intergalactic force. Without that, this earth cannot be balanced, earth cannot rotate, earth water cannot hold on it, and earth cannot have 4 seasons unless it has the power of the solar system on it, moon, all the planets has a power of this on this earth. Same way all galaxies has a power on this galaxy. Same way everything has the power, the invisible power of God. So without that, pantheist thinks that the whole universe is the only universe. There is no hidden thing. Universe is permanent and this is visible. But according to Ibn Arabi, Risalah, Barzakhiya, on the day of judgment, when this trumpet will be sounded, everything will collapse. This whole universe will collapse, and there will be a new universe created. That's when we will move into Akhirah. So anyway, what is happening is this: the wheel of creation. Wheel of creation is basically birth is happening, death is happening. We have a this day and night circulation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his Quran that inna fi khalqi samawati wal ard wa ikhtilafi al-layli wan nahar la'ayatin li ulil albab. The people who have an inner heart, albab, for them there is ayat, there is sign of God's why this day and night is happening. And day and night, because earth is rotating, his own shadow falls on it. Just the way our ego, when it falls a shadow of our own self, then our ego gets no light. That's going, we become angry, we become, all the negative trait happens when our just like earth had the darkness, sunlight cannot come because of its own shadow. Same way, because of our own shadow, our ego can be pumped up and we may forget our other self. That's how we move our mind, our body, everything is dynamic. So all this day and night movement, it has an impact on our mind, our emotion, our mood. Same way the Earth has a seasons when it goes into different spot on its orbit. So when Earth is at the top, Australians get the summer. But when Earth is in the bottom of a sun in that orbit, then United States get the summer. So same thing in our body, we have a circular in our heart, which is our Kaaba. Through our heart, our soul, constantly our thought, our mind has all these things move around. And when we are captured by some of those egoistic ideas, that of course capture our common sense, our conscience, and we behave abnormal. So anyway, with that one, I now move to my starting session for today. This is the one we wanted to start. So now we will go into this shape, which is basically the horn-shaped universe. Where Ibn Arabi got that? Ibn Arabi is saying these worlds of Barzakh, all these layers, we are talking about world of spirits, world of imagination, corporeal world, that is actually a cone shape as well. It's not only spherical, it also have a trumpet shape. And because that's how Ibn Arabi said in Quran and Hadith and prophetic understanding, and mentioned this trumpet. And that trumpet is the shape of the universe. It is bigger in the bottom and smaller, a cone shape at the top. At the top is the being, and at the bottom is the non-being or nothingness or world of Maya where we are. So, and there is a B, C, D I have shown there. D is the corporeal world, and C is the world of imagination, this one. And then cosmic world, which is the Godhead, is the being in this point. So this is how our chef, and that is how our soul transcended to this world, and it will ascend again when we leave this world. And of course, every night we go up, every morning when our soul come back to the body, so it happens. And here, even when we work in the perfection, according to Jungian understanding, he also says that this is the inverse diagram for our real self, and ego's ascent happen and ego's descent happen. When ascent happen, we become godly, and when descent happen, then we become again satanic. We become egoistic. We want to occupy everybody's land, and we want to own everybody's property. We want to declare ourselves God, ourselves. And then everyone have to follow my order. Just like Pharaoh said, Ana Rabbukumul A'la. So same way, there is some country want to capture all the world. That's why all the war happened during all this historical period, and it's still happening. So this ego, not only we have a collective ego we have, and also we have a personal ego. So that's what part of the universe. That's how God created the whole universe. And then next one is this one, Risalah Barzakhiya. Here, Ibn Arabi is saying, Allah glorified and exalted has said, and behind them is the Barzakh until the day are resurrected. Thus, Allah, in His wisdom, divided existence into three distinct worlds: world of material realm, the Barzakh, and the hereafter, Akhira. Similarly, there exist three cosmic realms: realm of angel, realm of dominion, realm of power. So this is in this is how Allah created us. When Allah created humankind, He fashioned it from a collective together of everything, majmu', and He made them body, soul, and spirit. These three aspects correspond to the realms. Body pertains to the material world and serves as the visible manifestation of angelic realm. The soul relates to Barzakh and represents the inner dimension of dominion realm, which is Malakut, and spirit is associated with the hereafter Akhirah. So Ibn Arabi is saying that our body, it has the body has the control over spirit and soul, because they are here in this world. When they are projected in this world, body control them, because body has the power over them. But when we go to Malakut, soul, nafs, has the power over body and also spirit. But when we go to Akhirah, spirit will have the power over the body and the soul. So in these three worlds, different component of us has different power. So that's what Ibn Arabi talks about. And then he's saying that Allah glorified and exalted has assigned a specific quality of each of these three realms, body, soul, and spirit. Quality serves their custodian, because at the moment body is the custodian and the conveyor upon which they depend, one who establishes their existence and holder of their life. So when the transition occurs, when the soul and spirit depart from the physical body, they are taken by the angel of death, marking the end of their earthly life and their journey to the abode of Barzakh. So that become, of course, once you go there, you cannot come back. And at that moment, soul emerges in its Barzakhian mood. So what is Barzakhian mood? Barzakhian mood is the spirits are corporealized and bodies are spiritualized. So opposite of human condition in dunya, the spirit and body swaps the position. So at the moment body is outside, ruh and spirit is inside. Whereas if you go to the Barzakh, they are saying that the ruh become outside and body and the soul become inside. And that's what he is talking about in this part. At that moment, soul emerges in Barzakhian mood, taking on the qualities imprinted upon it from its creation, qualities that dominates its essence, and then transactions and beliefs. So Allah glorified and exalted says to those who deny this truth, indeed, we are able to substitute the likes of you and produce you in forms you know not. So we do not know, but Allah can produce it. So that's what is. And then, of course, I already touched on this. Human being is the supreme isthmus. He even saying it in another place, Ibn Arabi is saying. So I quoted already that human being is the Barzakh al-A'la. And Ibn Arabi talking about it in Kitabul Fukuk. Actually, Kunabi is talking about it. And Mukhtar Ali quoted in his book, Horizon of Being. That's another book which is recently translated. As a human body, mind, and soul is the Majmu al-Bahrain. Basically, two seas. One is Zahir, one is the Batin. At human, they meet both at the Qalb and Ruh, where the seat of the soul is, where the Arsh Allah can reside. Anyway, world of imagination, Alam al-Khayal, is also part of the Barzakh. That's what is basically, I'm showing in some of the diagram, basically here, Alam al-Khayal, because when this baby, there is a video of this little girl which is in the YouTube. So what I found is she first time learned how to walk, and his father was taking video, but when first time he saw that he has a shadow, she has a shadow, she started trying to catch her, I mean, the other girl, the shadow, and then she keep on running and crying that she can't catch her. So at that time she's learning that she has a shadow. So just like us, we didn't know that our original is in the other world. This body is our shadow, but we are chasing the shadow basically. We are want to do this, all this gym and all this makeup and everything. We are just looking after this, but after 40 years it just disappear, the youth disappear. What happened to that youth you had or I had, right? So and same thing is happening. So this is what we are chasing, the shadow basically. So tethering, I mentioned in my last lecture. So tethering is the one, world is nothing but a tethering from Ayanis Sabata, because Ayanis Sabata is the permanent entity which is in God's knowledge, and that is which is kept in the Loha Mahfuz, in the preserved tablet, and that's where everything is specified, my destiny, what will happen to me and how I will be coming in this plane, how many years I will live, everything is there. And when I'll be coming, so whole mapping is there, it's the blueprint. And so what, and if you are an Insan Kamil, you can go and read those pages, because that is the tree of life. Ibn Arabi wrote book on it. Ittihadul Kaun, or a few other books has more references as well on that Ayanis Sabita and the tree of life, basically how Ayanis Sabita relate to our dimension. So at cosmic level, the entire creation is imagination, Khayal al-Mutlaq. At intermediate level, imagination is the world between the spiritual world and physical world, Khayal al-Mutakhayyal. And then objective and independent reality in all-encompassing detached imagination. So in our Alam al-Khayal, all these three layers. So in our dreams, there are some dreams related to my dunya. There are other khayal, which is a detached communication, which will happen, which comes from Allah. Some message, some wahi, some ilham can come as a detached divine imagination can land into us. Divine imagining the world, it is the presence of the world in the divine mind. Attached imagination is human imagination, imagining the forms of existence brought into existence by the creative power of divine imagination in the presence of things in the human mind. Human imagination is two kinds: dreaming, imagining. So former and involuntary, because Allah shows the dream, but voluntary is when you can imagine. Just like sunset, if you imagine it, you can see it immediately in your mind. So that is the one, imagining. The attached imagination depends upon detached imagination, and the human act of imagining is nothing more than a participation in the latter. So Ibn Arabi says, from the detached imagination, the attached imagination derives, while both have creative power. Detached and attached imagination are fundamentally different. One permanent, the other transitory. So the permanence of the detached derives from divine eternity, whereas transience of attached is a reflection of human ephemerality. The distinction between attached and detached imagination is this: attached vanishes when the one who is imagining vanishes. Detached is an essential presence, hadra dhatiya, permanently receiving meanings and spirits, so that it embodies them by its special capacity. So that is the dream al-haq. Sometime if Allah wants to show you some message for your soul improvement, when you're doing soul work, so that's when sometime guidance come in the form of dream. So this is another part I wanted to touch. This is the one Ibn Arabi called vast earth, or Ardun Hakiki, Ardun Waseyun. And this earth is known as the earth of reality, which can be only entered to the knower of reality. you see the knowers of reality, which is of course Insan Kamil, or the people who were purified their heart. So through the faculty of imagination, you can go and reach there. As Ibn Arabi explains elsewhere in chapter 8 of Futuhat, when God had created Adam, who was the first human body to come into being, and he had made him an origin and principle for the existence of all human bodies, a portion of the clay, this clay started thou, was left over. So there was some clay left over. After making Adam, so a portion, little bit of clay was left over. And that was the size of a sesame seed. So from that clay, this is a part of a hadith also. So he's saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made a palm tree, which is therefore Adam's sister, and for us, a paternal aunt. After the creation of the palm tree, there was still a tiny portion of clay left over, the size of a sesame seed, hidden away in secret. And it was in this remainder that God laid out a vast, unlimited earth. So leftover clay from Adam, Allah made this vast earth. So he had arranged in it the throne, all it contains, the footstool, heavens, and the earths, all that is underground, and all the paradises and hells, everything could be found there like a ring lost in one of our deserts. So that is the vast earth where our soul can go. And Ibn Arabi said he first time entered into that earth when he was in Tunis, and he made burst out with a cry, big loud shout and cry, which fainted everybody around him. He and his friends were doing salat, and at that time, Huzur was the Imam was reading this verse. That verse where this Ardun Wasiun were mentioned, and then as soon as that thought came, what is Ardun Wasiun? Ibn Arabi thought, immediately he plunged into that earth. And when he plunged into that earth, he made such a big cry, everybody got fainted. And so Ibn Arabi woke up first, and then other people woke up. And then Ibn Arabi was asking the other guy, hey, what happened? He said that you tell me what happened, because we heard only you shout, and this is all happened. And even some women from the neighboring terrace who are in an upper story, they fall on the ground. Of course, they didn't get hurt, but so people got fainted. So that is the first experience Ibn Arabi mentioned, that he entered into this earth, and he went there many times. So there are many stories about this vast earth and the Barzakh. So some of the stories, especially this throne, Bilqis's throne, when Bilqis was visiting the palace of Sulaiman alayhi salam, how that throne was brought back to this palace. The person who brought it is through the Barzakh. Basically, he pushed it on the other side, and then pulled it. It's actually, they're saying it's not the same one. It's basically a story of Barzakh, which came from, which came from the other side. And same is Musa alayhi salam and Khidir, because Khidir landed in a place where two seas met. So that is one of the place. Of course, Khidir is ever living, eternal, and as a result, Moses met him, and that's why he has been given this particular land. Of course, we don't know where that place exactly physically on this earth, but it can be in a place in a vast earth where Moses and Moses met Khidir. Same is when Jibril alayhi salam came. Jibril alayhi salam came from the other side to this side, but to come to this side, he need to take a form. So he took a form of a human being, and of course, when he comes here, he comes from the other world. And Miraj of Prophet happened, of course. He came a horizontal movement, which is physically came from Makkah to Al-Aqsa, but from Al-Aqsa to upward, that vertical journey happened in the vast earth in the Barzakh. And same is there was a hadith when Prophet was describing the fruits in the heaven, flowers in the heaven, in the Masjid al-Nabawi, and suddenly the fruits are shown just like a projector screen in those days. So Prophet almost stand up and about to grab a fruit, but the wall pushed away from him. So then, of course, Prophet explained that if he took it um, actually from that world to this world, it would have been permanent. That's why Allah took it away. But for the sake of Sahaba, they saw them. So that's how that was shown to the people. That is what Ibn Arabi is saying. And Musa Abu Imran al-Sadrani, there is a story in the Sufis of Andalusia, and when he actually gone into vast earth, he went into Jabal al-Kaf, and he did a prayer, Juhur prayer, on the top of that hill, that Jabal al-Kaf, that mountain calf, it has a snake around it, and it's floating on the water. And of course, that snake knew about Abu Madian, and he was talking with Imran al-Sadrani. And all this description he gave was happened in vast earth. Same way, Abdul Qadir Jilani, there is a story about a priest who were during the time of Khalif al-Muqtafi in Baghdad. So the priest and Khalifa was playing chess, and then Abdul Qadir came, and then Abdul Qadir and the priest has exchange of their vision. And during that vision, priest saw a dream. And in that dream, he saw that he went into a river, and he was doing a kind of shower in the river. And suddenly he found that he became female, and he became naked. And then she didn't know how she entered there. And then suddenly a shepherd came, said that, hey, I am lost and I don't have clothing. So shepherd took her, gave her clothes, and then both of them married, and they got children, and he lived there 6 years. And then priest and Abdul Qadir Jilani entered, their vision ended, and he asked the priest that, what did you see? Then Abdul Qadir Jilani said, what, do you want me to tell you? Do you want to see your children? He said that, what? What I saw is in real? Yes, it is real. Then they opened the door, see that the man who married and these children is at the door. So how did this happen? Then he said that because you were in vast earth, you had that real life, but now they have been brought because you never understood how Prophet Muhammad gone to Miraj, and you questioned it. You had a doubt. So I needed to show you that this vast earth, where Prophet gone and seen this heaven, earth, everything is possible, just like you did this journey in split of your blink. So that was the story. Qadir Jilani showed him the miracle. So anyway, and then Julnun Misri, story as well. That there were he visited to vast earth, and what he saw so many earth there. So he saw white silver earth, he saw camphor earth, he saw um, so many things there. At one stage, there was an earth where he was in, and the earth was quaking. And then he's asking, "Hey, why earth is quaking?" He said that, "Oh, it happens when a person's near one comes to inform them that their near one is coming. So what's happening to me?" He said that, "Oh, your daughter Fatima is coming, and because she will be dying in few minutes." He said that, "No, I left her in good health to her mom." No, Allah has already ordered for her to die. So because you are her near and dear one, so you are being informed. So that's what has happened to Jullul Misri, and Jullul Misri recorded it, and Ibn Arabi quoted it in his Kitab, in the chapter 8. And there are so many things like that, and vast earth story. So in conclusion, Barzakh, intermediate world that unites or separate the two worlds, seen and unseen. Barzakh, vast earth, was created from the leftover clay of Hazrat Adam alayhi salam. And then this يَخَافُونَ يَوْمًا تَتَقَلَّبُ فِي قُلُوبِ الْأَبْصَارِ. They fear the day when hearts and eye will be transformed, roles reversed. So what does this verse means to me? This ayat, that at the moment when we look at the object send a light to my eye, and I see what that object is. But in the akhirah, it will happen the opposite. I will really project a light, just like laser beam you can put. You will project a light from your eye. So that's what will happen. And heart will see what is the one, because Ibn Arabi says tajassad al arwah wa tarawuh al ajsam. Spirits are corporealized, bodies are spiritualized. The ruh and the body will swap the place in the akhirah. So we will be like a we will be luminous body like a star, um, because our body will be hidden with the light. So, and that's what we will have a body of light. And that is what in Risalah Barzakhiya Ibn Arabi is saying. And then we have Barzakh al-Sagir at the moment, but in Akhirah, Barzakh al-Kabir will be built, because the new configuration, and that's when we will have an eternal youth. We will never age, and there will be no sun or this day, night, those sort of things. It's a different kind of configuration. Ibn Arabi explained how it will happen in Akhirah. So anyway, with that note, I want to conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Well, that was fantastic. Thank you very much, Nur. A very fascinating talk. A lot of detail and a lot of things to remember. Thank God you will be leaving us these copies of the slides, I guess.
Sure.
Some of us may want to look at them when we save the recording with them for part 1 and 2. Thank you very much, Nur. That was lovely. Now is the time for anyone who would like to make a comment or ask questions of Nur. We have 20 or so, 25 minutes we can do that in. Mark, please go ahead.
Nur, do you have a Quranic reference for the story of when Ibn Arabi let out that cry, and you said that the Imam was reading a verse from the Quran? Do you have a reference?
Yes. It's Ardun Wasiyun. Inna Ardun Wasiyun. Fa'iyya fa'abdun. My earth is spacious, Wasiyun, vast earth. So you do my ubudiyah. So Ibn Arabi is saying that one person, when he become Abdun Mahdiyun, pure servant. I explain what is a pure servanthood means. So when you reach that pure servanthood state, you automatically can go there. God will allow you to go just like Jibril is allowed to come, not any other angel can come and have a human form. Only Jibril was allowed. Same way, all human cannot go because there is a barrier. But if you are Abdun Mahdun, that pure servant, how you can be pure servant? You are not a lord for anything. Not even a house, not even a land, not even a children, money, nothing. You cannot be a master at all. If you are Lord, you are not a servant. So even Arabi, that's why didn't want to own anything. So he said that my pure servanthood is, I am a servant, I am not a Lord at all. And his surrender was complete surrender, like as I mentioned, the willingly or unwillingly, but he's willingly surrendered to the Lord. As a result, he became a pure servant. So to achieve this insan kamil, that is one of the precondition. And when you reach that, Ibn Arabi is saying that you just close your eye and an angel is waiting for you to give you a cloak. As soon as they give you a cloak, you are in there. It's called motabirun. So the etibar, there is a description about it in the Futuhat. Yeah.
So the Quranic verse, what did you say the name of the
let me give you the reference. It's in my slide.
I didn't see it in the slide. Sorry.
Okay. No, I think I may not have quoted here. Yeah, it is actually ayat number. Okay, I didn't mention the ayat. Okay. I have it here. Inna ardi wasiyun. Yeah, I'll give it to you. No worries. Yeah, it's the Ankabut 29:56. Ya ibadi alladhina amanu inna ardi wasiyatun fa iyaya fa'budun. And this is the ayat Imam was reading when he read this inna ardi wasiyatun. That's when Ibn Arabi got the trigger. Yeah.
Thank you. And then my second question was at the very bottom of one of your slides, you had a little footnote, but you didn't say anything about it, where the sesame seed or the word sesame is connected to ma'arifa on one of the slides. Could you say something about that, please?
Yes, actually, there was sesame seeds hidden away. So he says that this particular description is actually quoted. Ibn Arabi defines sesame as a direct knowing, ma'rifa, which is too fine and subtle to be expressed. So in his Rasail, he mentioned this word, and also he mentioned this Quranic verse about some impossibility, the eye of the needle versus camel passing through. Yeah, it's a similar kind of example. Anyway, but here Ibn Arabi is saying that the direct knowing is linked to that particular sesame. I don't have much detail on it at this
that's
moment.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nur. Anyone else? Robert? You are muted, Rob.
Okay, hi. This also concerns one of your slides, and I think it's the slide which is called Alam al-Khayal.
Okay.
And
what is the question?
I don't know if you could bring it up. It's a sentence that you had on it. I think it's relating to one of the Barzakhs, where you say it has an objective, independent reality. And I don't know whether you can.
Is it this one or the other one?
I don't think it was that one because I was able to read it. Can you enlarge it a bit?
Okay.
Intermediate.
This
Oh,
one?
yes. Yeah.
Oh, yes, so
Yeah.
it is note 3.
On the third, according to Ibn Arabi, Alam al-Khayal can be divided into 4 levels. And then on the 3rd level, you say it has an objective independent reality. And I'm actually not quite sure about that, whether you can say that something has an objective independent reality, because it's independent of what?
Because this is Alam al-Khayal, which is a munfasil, which is detached, right?
Mm-hmm.
So of course, in here, reality means when you have been given this khayal, which is coming from divine. So, but of course, independent in the sense that it came from, because it is detached, it's not attached. I think I have taken this from the paper by Shamar Akash. He quoted Ibn Arabi. So I have to refer you to that. I'll come back to it. So your question is, how can it be independent? Independent of what? Independent of God or independent of itself?
Ah. Mhm.
I think it may be that you implied it's independent of the other sides on its sides. It's not connected to either the life here on earth or the akhirah or the afterlife. So it's not, it doesn't mix, like you were saying, water, ice, salty water and pure water do not mix. So it's in between, and it's neither of them, and it can't be putting them together, and it can't be either of them. So it's something independent of these two. It's not an independent creation, because I think the Barzakh is not even a creation. It's a pre-created. It's not even created. It's a some people call it nothingness. It's the nothingness.
Actually, as you know, it's one of the transcendence. As you know,
yeah,
we have all those various transcendence. So Barzakh is one of the world. So here is ontologically 3 different levels of imagination: a transcendental, unrestricted imagination, which calls khayal al-mutlaq, absolute imagination; an all-encompassing imagination, which he calls khayal al-munfasil, detached imagination; and an encompassed imagination, which he calls khayal al-muttasil, which is attached imagination. So first attached to the higher isthmus, second to the lower, whereas the third designates human level of imagination in its psychological framework. It's in the Sufi path of knowledge, actually, this information he took from.
in relation to that, you were saying about the judgment day and the Barzakh, how, we got to sleep at night, we see it for temporary period, but in judgment days when we go there forever, as it were, and at that time we wait there until the end of the universe, the al-akhirah, and at that time we're the end of universe and the beginning of a new universe. So I suspected we're saying that the Barzakh in between, which means it is there before the end of the universe, after the end of the universe, and before the beginning of a new one. It's always there. It's like an eternal thing, which is independent of anything. It's always there. So the Barzakh is not something that comes and goes like the universe comes and goes. It's always there. So it has to be independent of anything and everything, which is, that's what eternity means, isn't it?
In my understanding, Ibn Arabi is saying that when Adam was created, he was in a heaven, but heaven of the Barzakh, not the heaven of Akhirah, because heaven of Akhirah is not yet created. Heaven of Akhirah will be created at this second, this surah, this trumpet sound. That's what it has been. It is said, because he's saying that even the people, he's saying that because this day and night at the moment, he quoted some Quranic verse, that Quranic verse says that that as those who are blissful, they shall be in paradise, abiding therein as long as heaven and earth endure. And Ibn Arabi is saying in this Quranic verse, Surah 11, verse 108, this heavens and earth endure until Qiyamah. So, and then he's saying that when heaven and earth cease, the life in the abode of Barzakh concludes and transition to hereafter begins. That's what he's saying in his Risalah Barzakhiya. However, this is not a description of the greater hereafter, al-akhirah al-kubra, which knows no end, as it is eternal and unbounded. So hereafter is eternal, unbounded. As mentioned in the noble Quran, yes, of course, it's part of the Jabarut. So that is eternal, yes. That's the other layer. The one, Alam al-Misal, which is the Barzakh as-Sagir, Alam al-Malakut, that is the one which will conclude. But the Jabarut, yes, you are right. That is eternal. Because hereafter is in Jabarut.
Good, thank you, Nur. Anyone else like to have any questions? Or comments about anything?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
I counted 5 seconds to give time to anyone else who wants to jump in, because I'm a blabber, so I was waiting for everyone to ask their questions first. Because I don't want Frank to say, "You're talking too much," and start me down.
I was just about to ask a question and you started.
Oh, see, my
Go
timing's
ahead.
off.
Go
My
ahead.
timing is off. Should count now
You
to
beat
7
me.
seconds,
Go
not
ahead.
5 seconds. Yeah. Thank you for the talk, Nur. That was you
Thank
gave
you.
me a lot of tangents, and I love that. Thank you. Like, I even started drawing because you inspired me to do something. Like, I'm trying to come up with an Ibn Arabi logo for a friend. She's doing a personal project. So okay. So can we go to the slide of the psychological model of the soul?
Okay.
Bismillah. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. Is it up? No. And can we enlarge that a little bit? Because I'm blind as a bat. Alhamdulillah, I'm not blind as a bat. Alhamdulillah.
I don't know what happened. Yeah.
That's
sorry.
it.
Yeah, you got it. You got it, Habibi. Okay, so can we zoom in on the left side where it says Jihad and Nafs and Tazkiyah and Nafs? Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's perfect. That's perfect. That's it. Yeah. Just zoom out a little bit because we want to see the other thing. So my question for you, that I don't know, a question came into my head regarding this was, has Ibn Arabi from any of your readings, because mashallah you're like the maester for us of Ibn Arabi's text, has Ibn Arabi mentioned anything about how we can attempt to purify the soul? Because for us mere, well, I'm going to speak to myself, for us for donkeys like me, I don't think I can ever attain to becoming insan al-kamil. So I think the best bet I got, that I can go to the middle ground between jihad al-nafs, which I think is the battle or the struggle of the soul, and the purification of the soul. So I want to attempt to go to the middle. Has Ibn Arabi said any procedures how we can attain to purify it? Not only like metaphorical ghusl or whatever, but has he said anything tangible in human world? Like do we do ritualistics? Do we say certain dua? Did he say anything specific in this regard?
Yeah, of course he has many suggestions, and I suggest you to read this Journey to the Lord of Power. That has very clear example how to do it. And another one is this Quintessence, of which is the Seeker Needs. There is a book that the Quintessence, this Jawhar for the Murid. And the third one I would suggest is Tadbiratul Ilahiyya. Of course, Ruhul Qudus, if you have an English translation. This Ruhul Qudus is one of the counseling of the soul. And that is a very beautiful book where he actually gave a lot of examples because he was speaking to his own soul, and his soul is arguing with him, and he is countering every argument, and then soul surrendered to him. Then when he surrendered, then of course he disclosed many other things. So he gave examples from people's life, and that became Sufis of Andalusia, because he gave examples from various Sufis of his time. So, and if you analyze those stories, you have find various aspects of human dimension, how you have to deal with various situation to manage your situation. Because just like one example, I forgot the name of this, one of his companion, he actually was in front of him, this particular sheikh. He's also a very good Sufi, Ibn Arabi, but he didn't like Abu Madian. So he was saying bad things about Abu Madian. But he didn't say in his word, but in his heart, he emitted some hatred towards this sheikh. And that particular emission, he couldn't suppress. And that was just like Abdul Qadir Jilani said, that when you are in Udu, if you bent out some air through your from your body, then your Udu is gone. You have to do Udu again.
What is Udu? What is Udu again?
Udu is the the ablution. Udu.
Ablution. Oh, Udu. Okay, Wudu.
Yeah, yeah.
Wudu. Okay.
So when you have Udu, if you are praying and if you bent out air from your body, Udu is broken. You have to go and do it again. And Abdul Qadir Jilani says, when your heart emits anything bad, your purity, then you have to do Udu again.
Wow.
You have to do dhikr.
That's so beautiful. So
Yeah,
the heart can fart as well, basically.
Yes, exactly.
And our brains can fart as well.
So do you know what happened?
What?
The status of Ibn Arabi is saying that when that happened, the other guy doesn't know. But Prophet came into his dream in that night. He said, Muhammad, why you release that? He said that he didn't like the person I like, Abu Madian. You know what is the status of Abu Madian? He's a kutub of my time. So he said that, does he hate Prophet? No. Does he love Allah? Does he love Prophet? In both response, he said yes. In that case, you cannot release that for that guy. He can have a personal choice. So what happened is, Ibn Arabi woke up, took a beautiful garment or gift for this sheikh, and ran to him, said that, mate, last night when I was here, I did this to you because you are talking bad. Now Prophet reprimanded me. Forgive me, please. I came here to seek your forgiveness. I want to seek your forgiveness. Please forgive me. Otherwise, I am gone.
I think this is a
Prophet,
very beautiful story because, as well, it shows that, you know, when some people start idolizing people, especially like Ibn Arabi or Jilani or whatever,
yeah,
they showed how human they are, and then they show their passing of state, that they're not
yes.
perfect. They're showing examples of this is what I faulted in, and this is how I corrected it. So thank you, because subhanallah, this whole subject, God is beautiful. Just yesterday, I need to tell this story to someone because it's God works in beautiful patterns. It's beautiful. Thank you very much, Nur. Thank you.
Yeah, so that is kind of a story you will find in Sufism Andalusia and this Ruhul Qudus. Yeah.
Good, thank you, Nur. Nur, can I trouble you to bring back that page again so I can have a question or comment about it?
Oh, okay.
The same picture where Allah is at the top and Shaitan at the bottom.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Just 1 minute. There. Okay, if I go to here and then I just bring
just
it.
make it a tiny bit bigger, just so
Okay.
that's it. Yeah, that's good. This brought to my attention a comment that you said earlier in that talk about how perfection is for man, not for God. So we cannot say God is perfect.
No, this perfection.
Yeah, sorry,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, I understood that to mean God is beyond perfection because he's perfect by definition, whereas we can't compare God with anyone else and say God is better than this or this is better than that. God is not to be measured, is not something to be measured. He's beyond measurement. So from that's how I understood that to have meant, which is perfect. But here, this particular thing, which is done by these psychologists, something I'm not sure if it's accurate to have is God or Allah and Shaitan on the same diagram, meaning this whole thing includes God and Shaitan and all these things. It's as if God is in the same bucket. I would rather have God outside of this because God is whole and he is everything. He's not really to be compared or to be part of anything else. And maybe instead of the word God up there, maybe we should have al-insan al-kamil at the top, because al-insan al-kamil is the one who's becomes perfect for humans. And he would be the best thing to have on the other side as part of this, rather than Allah, because Allah is too big to be included in this small thing.
Yeah, you can send that feedback to this Cambridge University. But
just for us to discuss.
Main thing is, it is the human soul model. This is the spiritual architecture of the soul. The soul, because God breathed his spirit into human being. So as a result, because this is showing that human had the God's spirit inside. وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ رُوحِنَا. We have blown my spirit into him. This is the Quranic verse. So as a result, of course, this is not Allah, but Allah's light is inside. Allah's light is
beautiful.
inside.
To put it like that would be great. Yeah.
Allah's
spirit,
light
that's why
is
I said
here.
either al-insan al-kamil or the spirit
because
from
there's
God.
an arrow there, arrow. That arrow is showing a light coming from Allah. As you see there, do you see that this arrow coming from Allah to qalb and ruh? So that ruh belong to Allah. It's not showing that this is Allah. It's showing that this is not Allah. Allah is an entity which is from where this ruh is coming. This ruh is coming from him.
Yeah, that
you got
makes
my
sense.
Point. And And then this entity, which is the another entity, it is giving uswasa to the nafs, right?
Yeah.
So, and constantly that pouring happening. Falhamaha, ilham, inspiration, fujuraha, which come from what taqwaha. Taqwaha happened from Allah, and fujuraha happened from shaitan. Falhamaha, fujuraha, wa taqwaha. Two things happen simultaneously. Depending on your istidad, which one you are listening. If you are always following shaitan, you become Pharaoh. But if you constantly listening to Allah, you become awliya. Right? So that's what it is basically.
Yeah.
This is a kind of symbolic representation
Yeah.
that human has this dual dimension.
Yeah, that's why I don't like putting God inside of things like that. But anyway,
yeah, of
it's
course.
a representation.
But you need to put Allah's there or outside, right? You want to
Yes,
put it
I think
outside?
so. I want
You
to put
can put
him
it there if you like.
Put him
Yeah,
above
if you like,
above the top.
a diagram, you can
I don't
put
like
it.
Allah to be one entity and shaitan another entity. It's as if
Yeah,
they're
I
two
agree.
entities on the same level, the good and the bad.
Yeah, it's not the
God is
same
more
level
than
though.
bad.
Yeah, because as I read this Fusus, Ibn Arabi is saying man is a two-sided mirror. On one side, the properties of lordship. On the other side, defects of servanthood are reflected.
Yeah, that's
when
good
you look at the
representation.
properties of lordship, he's greater than all beings. When you count the defects of servanthood, he's lower and more insignificant than all creatures.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. Yeah, because we have the two-sided mirror. Yeah.
That's good. Thank you, Nur.
Mm.
Now, anyone has one last question before we conclude? Well, that's very good. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for coming.